Overwhelming debt. What are the next steps? This is 40inbox.com, where we help you master your money. So let's get into the story. Overwhelming debt. Have no idea what my next step should be. We are a family of 7, 2 adults and 5 children. And oh my goodness, 5 kids, right? Like imagine if you had like 5 kids, right? Like hit the like button if you actually want 5 kids. Hit the like button if you don't want 5 kids, because that's a lot of kids to have. So we were extremely comfortable and had over $50,000 in savings before COVID hit. Now I will say this, right, before we continue, it's like having $50,000 while you have 5 kids is very impressive, right? I've met a lot of people in my life, and it's been really rare to see someone that has a large family have that high of a savings during any amount of their time, right? Like it's pretty amazing. So I gotta give props to them at this point in time. So they had perfect credit, life was good. Once COVID hit, my husband lost his very good job, which sucks, and I could see this happening to a lot of families, and to a lot of large families is probably a bigger strain on their living situation. So we immediately went into frugal mode and saved every cent we could, but life had other plans. Well, this is a bad omen. 2 of our children developed health issues, one requiring 5 days a week of various therapies. We had several home repairs happen. Our primary car broke down completely, and the list goes on and on. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess this is like the whole like Murphy's Law thing where like if something can go bad, it will. Like, I mean, not to mention this is like during COVID, like, you know, the whole like pandemic thing being like super bad last year with all the lockdowns and all that kind of stuff, right? So all while we were still paying all bills on top of my husband frantically searching for a job. I picked up work to help try and float us through, but it didn't cover nearly the amount my husband's job did. It covered groceries, and that's about it. A year later, we are broke and severely struggling. Now I gotta ask, like, was there never a time where you guys tried to like apply for unemployment? Because he should have definitely been able to get unemployment if he lost his job. So my husband just started a new job a week ago that pays $70,000 a year. Now that's really good though. So no paycheck yet. It should hit next week. We have just come out of forbearance for a home and had our monthly payment lowered, so we should be okay there. But utilities have fallen behind and are at risk of being shut off. Credit cards are behind, saving accounts overdrawn, and everything is behind. We were hoping to use our tax return, $13,000 for a tax return, to pay down these bills and start fresh and begin saving again with my husband's paychecks. But even though we filed in February, we were told we won't be getting a refund until likely August. We reached out to a local charity to help us with the utility bills, at least with the past due amounts, but I'm not sure what else we can do. Are there any other options for us with our credit tanking over the last year? We can't get a loan to consolidate debt. Though I'm sure that's the worst option anyway. Yeah, pretty much. We literally aren't buying anything right now other than groceries, and we can hardly do that right now. We haven't stepped foot in a restaurant in over a year. No events, no shopping, etc. We aren't spending. We're focusing every cent on paying down debts, but it's just one thing after another that prevents us from doing so. We just need some options to help us through the first few months of my husband's new job while we pay down everything. Does something like that exist? Any advice on this situation? ETA, I cannot get a job if my husband is working, as someone has to be home with the children. We have no family friends who could watch the children, and childcare costs here would defeat the purpose of me working entirely. So, obviously, this is a pretty horrible situation, and feel free to share this with someone who might need to hear some sort of different opinion. But here's the thing, right? Yeah, you have 5 kids, which is, a lot of mouths to feed and all that. But here's the thing. You're going to have to cut down on your groceries, and because from what I see from like the information that's given here, that's probably where most of your money is actually going to. Because look, when it comes to like being in like a super dire situation like this, you focus on purely the roof over your head, your utilities, your car, and food. That's basically what you focus on, your needs, your pure needs. So in a very dire situation like this, you pay the bare minimums on all of your debts, right? Because you got to get yourself in a situation where you are safe enough to where you could actually provide for yourself, to like feed your own kids and make sure that you're not going to be kicked out of your house. That's what you got to focus on first and foremost, right? Now, there are a lot of ways to actually cut down on the grocery bills, right? Yeah, you could also go to like, maybe a food bank or a food charity, but honestly, I don't think you're going to actually need to do that. Because here's the thing, you could actually eat extremely cheap. It's not going to be good food. It's not going to be healthy food, but you could eat super, super cheap for like 3 months to basically get your family back into a situation where you guys are healthy enough to financially deal with all these things, right? So a good suggestion would be basically switch pretty much all of your food to pretty much just ramen and potatoes, right? And I literally mean like the top ramen stuff, like that like super, super cheap $1 12-pack ramens, because one, they are super high in calories and they are super cheap, which means you could have multiple meals for it for under $1, right? You could literally feed a family per day for under $1, right? And this could save you a lot of money if you do this for like 2 to 3 months to get yourself into a situation where you basically have no grocery bill, so that you can basically get yourself into a situation where you no longer have to just pay the minimums, but you can then start paying down your debt. Then you can start working better. Because here's the thing, you said that your paycheck's not going to get till like the next week, right? So you don't even have to do this for a few months, but you could just do this for a few months, get even your grocery bill costs super, super low, so that you can make up ground to basically get yourself back to where you, not necessarily where you were before COVID, but in a healthier and safer position than when you were like dealing with COVID, right? So that's something to really think about, because a lot of people don't really realize how much money they're actually spending when it comes to their grocery bill, right? Like there's people who are just single individuals, right? People who are just purely by themselves spending over $100 per week on food when they could literally just spend $20-$30 per week, right? They could actually technically spend even less than that if they really wanted to, but there's something to really think about, right? Like think about how much money you're actually spending, and do you really need to be spending that amount of money? And again, I understand 5 kids, that's not easy to deal with. That's a lot of food that you got to give them, and obviously you probably want to feed them really well. But here's the thing, everyone's going to have to struggle during this time because you are basically 100% broke, right? You're super broke, and you got to sacrifice right now to get yourself, your family into a better situation, right? So just keep that in mind. You got to sometimes do things that you don't necessarily want to do so that in the future you can live a better life. So you just got to be careful, take this very seriously, work super hard, and get your guys in a situation where you are safer and more financially capable of actually dealing with things, right? Because once the paychecks start hitting, then you can really like budget your money in a way to where you feel safe, but also feel like you're actually working down your debt. So just keep that in mind. Feel free to watch more and subscribe for more personal finance stories and lessons. Check out 40inbox.com to learn the secret to mastering your money below, and you could also learn to make money online below as well. But also, you can contact us with your personal finance question or story at 40inbox.com, and we will try to put it into like a future episode and all that kind of stuff. Feel free to share this with someone as well who might need to hear something about this, because yes, even though this is a super bad situation, there's a lot of people dealing with this type of situation right now. So you're not alone. There's people out there that are dealing with potentially even worse situations, but they're working at it. They're slowly breaking through all the rubble of this whole pandemic thing. So just stay positive and just keep, moving one step after the other, and you will end up getting into a better situation as long as you stay consistent in doing your best, right? No guarantees, but as long as you, do your best and keep moving left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, you'll eventually get into a better place, because as long as you keep moving forward, you can only keep moving forward. So we'll see you in future episodes.